is a show that focuses on the person behind the brony. I'm your host, Osaka Jack. Please sit back and relax as we talk to this week's guest brony. Hello, everyone. This is Osaka Jack with Into the Spotlight on Everfree Network. With me today, I have someone whose work you may have been in contact with, but possibly not the man himself. Stand by, please. And that's not a request. That's actually the name. Hello.
Hey, Jack. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, stand by, please. Most people know me on Twitter through that, so that's my name. Don't wear it out.
I would love to meet somebody whose name has just been worn out. Just, hey, what's your name? Karen. And they just can never complete it with any energy anymore. It's been worn out.
Yeah.
Yours is one of the more punny names that I've come across, though.
Oh, yes.
And I'm sure you've heard and told every single joke possible with it.
Or people have told me the jokes. Right. Yes, it does lend itself to joke status, especially to, using radios or just talking to people. Stand by.
Yeah.
All right, stand by, please. Yeah, it never gets old. Please, stand by.
I was thinking musical version. Just possibly introduce you with a snapping and doom, doom, doo, doom, doo, 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 doo. No? Okay. Tell me somebody else has done that.
Stand by, please. No, late on the delivery. Say again?
Tell me somebody else has done that joke to you. I can't
the musical,
believe I'm the first. The musical one, yeah.
I don't think, you're the first one.
Oh, I'm a trailblazer. Okay,
yeah,
everybody has to introduce themselves with snapping and chorus to you now.
We'll get the doo-wop guys out.
Yep. Doo-wop would be an awesome name for an OC pony. Just saying it right now.
Osaka Jack coined it.
Woohoo! Yay, trademarks. Well, if anybody isn't familiar with you or your work, could you describe a little bit of what do you do?
Well, I personally am involved in what you would call post-production. It's what we do after people shoot video or film. We do things like edit it, manipulate it, special effects, posting it places. But yeah, I'm a post-production consultant, although I do dabble in production, studio work, camera, things like that.
Sure.
And I supervise a team of editors who make all kinds of interesting things. Make sure they're happy and not stabby or mutinous. It's hard.
Keep those underlings under control.
Exactly.
Has there been any of your work that you're allowed to talk about or just mention it? Or
well, I did work on a little independent film many years ago that actually won, I believe it was Best Independent Feature at Canadian Independent Film Awards.
Okay.
So long ago, I'm trying to remember, but it was a low-budget feature called The Overlookers, and I think you can probably find it on Netflix.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a trip. What else? A lot of corporate stuff, a lot of things that just kind of blend in and no one ever remembers, and, personal stuff.
I know that it's probably not one of your big titles, but one of the ones that sticks out to me is What the Heck Was That? Or that's what I've named it. It was a Vine which featured an empty field and then a droned derpy zoomed by the camera.
Yes. I'm also known as a crazy drone pilot. And I'll clarify. Yeah, yes, there is a Vine video that does exist. Our friend Joy, who goes by Joy the Artist on Twitter and Tumblr and Etsy. Go buy her stuff. It's awesome. She had designed a special derpy plushie because I'm a big fan of derpy. And I don't try to collect a lot of merchandise.
Sure.
But when I do, I collect derpy. So she was sewing a lot of custom designs for people as well as putting things up for sale. And unbeknownst to me, she had been working on a secret project, a studio assistant derpy. So she made a derpy plushie custom with special rag fabric. I don't know where she finds these things because it's perfect. But and then she constructed a little pair of headphones to go with it, and she had the derpy was all tangled up in the cords, and it was brilliant.
If I remember correctly, part of the cords went through her mouth. So
yes,
like
she's holding on to it. Like, here, I got it for you, which was great. I loved it a lot. I actually I made a little unboxing video for her, which she loved, so that she could see my joy firsthand.
Yeah.
But getting to the point, I was with a friend upstate. We have a place upstate New York with a big field, and I have a drone. So I decided to see if it would lift said plushie derpy. Attached some fishing wire and scheming, making a. I was a big viner at that point. I haven't vined in a while, but I should get back on it. And we filmed. The friend, by the way, was yours and mine, John Fulner.
Ah, okay.
Who many people know. He had been upstate with me, and we schemed. And we wanted to see if this would work.
Right.
So he had the camera, and we made a flying derpy. And we made a video of it. Like a UFO, derpy just flies across the screen, and it was real, not special effects. So that was pretty popular, and that was a lot of fun. And yes, I do a lot of other stuff with the drone, putting together a little aerial reel as well. And that's a blast to fly. So little hobbies to keep them busy.
Yeah. I'm curious as to your opinion on Amazon's new move.
I was impressed. It made me take pause, but at the same time, what is it, Jeff Bezos? I wouldn't put it past him. It's going to be interesting to see how far he gets, I think, in his timetable of 5 years.
Right.
Because there are regulations that are coming, I think, initially at 2015. Because a lot of people get these things and they, you can fly them for personal use, but you're really not supposed to, according to the FAA, fly them, for commercial profit. Sure. Because then they become an actual aircraft and there's commerce and they, they're not happy with that. So
sure.
they want to regulate, and there's a whole lot of barriers that they have to break through.
Sure.
That it's going to be interesting to see what they do and how far they get. But I think it's cool. The sky's going to be filled with them.
Yeah, I'm curious as to how it would interfere with an area that has, say, an airport or wildlife that have a lot of birds. But
yeah, I mean, I think the FAA has made testing grounds, little labs across the country for people who are developing stuff to do tests, and I think they want to be able to put, for autonomous things, I think they want to be able to certify and put them through like a bunch of tests so that they know how to avoid things and not go and like crash into somebody's hair or something like that.
Well, another point that somebody brought up that I thought was hilarious was so in the country that has more guns per capita than anywhere else, we want to send a bunch of flying targets.
Yeah. There's actually, I forget where it is, but there's a rural town that actually puts bounties, hunting bounties out for drones that fly over.
Really?
And you bring them into like the little town center, and they give you a reward. So
what is the logic? Don't look at us.
Yeah, well, privacy is something we take for granted, but also, as each generation grows, we're used to less and less of it. That's true. But there's definitely some people. I mean, I like privacy.
Oh yeah.
I try to be a responsible droner, but there are people that just real knuckleheads.
Yeah.
That just don't shouldn't get their wings, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Though
So.
I can see in some parts of Southeast Asia, kite flying is actually a sport where you can attach like blades or little things to parts of the kite, and you try to get the kites to crash into each other and knock the other one out of the air. I'm just
That's
waiting
cool.
for drone combat.
I think I've seen some people do it. I
Really?
think there are people that actually, there are videos out there, yeah, that they will make these drones, and it's like, what was that TV show?
Robot
Battle
Wars
Bots or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And that was always a blast to watch. So I'm like, you take it to the air and you have these things. It's kind of scary actually on one side because, they make these flying death machines, which are normally in an arena.
Yeah.
But that they could go and take out and fly over and, go attack and destroy things. But yeah. Carnage, drone carnage. Love it.
I think it definitely has potential as a sport. I would like to see it be made into a sport just so people who do it have to be in a stadium or a field that's designated for it instead of, over someone else's house.
Yeah, well, there's people. I mean, there's that do model airplane flying. I mean, serious RC enthusiasts, and they go to actual designated parks and places to do their stunt flying, and are like, super serious hobbyists.
Oh yeah.
So the drones have gotten cheap enough. People just go out and buy them and go fly them around, and there's not, they draw the ire from a lot of these other groups that are like, you knuckleheads, you people, you're going to ruin it for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's true, but they're, responsible flying. They're very cool.
Sure.
Not to drag on about it, but it's,
hey, it's cool. Why not?
Responsible drone flying is very cool, and they're getting more and more affordable for private use every day. You just hook a GoPro up to it. You get a little stabilizer. You're out making beautiful footage that, $2,000 an hour helicopters were, the only things that we're able to get previously. So we've come a long way.
Indeed. And how long before we have a smartphone app? Fly My Drone.
They have them.
No fooling. Wow. I got to stop making jokes because they turn out to be true.
Well, you ask the questions, I answer.
Yeah.
They have drones now that, there's the Parrot. A lot of people will know the Parrot AR drone. Was one of the first ones that they came out with that has a little built-in camera, and you fly it over Wi-Fi with an app. And actually, to go back to your point about using them in battles, it's supposed to be like augmented reality, so you can, if you just want to fly around, you can take videos or do other things, but you can also play this sort of like a laser tag type thing. So it's like you're playing a video game on your iPhone or iPad or Android. And you and your buddies are flying around chasing each other. You can, and I'm making little bunny ears, wink, wink. You can shoot each other with missiles and lasers and register hits and points and actually turn it into a game.
Wow. Future is here, and we've all got to grow wings or be left behind.
It's all part of Skynet's plan.
Yeah. I think the most unrealistic part of the entire Terminator series was when people were unwilling to give their lives over to Skynet.
Yeah, because everybody's like, dude, hook me up. Like, upload my friends list, man.
Yeah, really? What? Skynet's got free Wi-Fi everywhere? Heck yeah. No problem, man. Whatever. I can see a bunch of Tumblr posts coming out. Well, the Terminators only act if you're in their area, so obviously get out of their way. Well, I know that you have been to quite a few cons. Or actually, how many have you been to? I know of one because that's the only one that I've gone to.
Yeah, I was kind of trying to put a little list together, and I'm sure I'm forgetting stuff, but the first one I went to was the big BronyCon convention out in Secaucus.
Okay.
What was that? That was 2 years ago now?
2012, I believe.
Gee whiz. Well, it would be 1.5 years, I guess, because, time. But, it was BronyCon, then it was Everfree Northwest,
Mm-hmm.
EQLA, Canterlot Gardens, Cloudsdale Congress, Las Pegasus. That was a hoot.
Yeah.
And there may be others. But what turned into, I mean, I wasn't really majorly into the con scene.
Sure.
Until, I would spend some time online. I'd come home and there was an web environment called SyncTube, a service that you could go to, and
remember.
Yeah, it's defunct now, although I think they're rebuilding it. But people have taken up the reins. But because it was great, you'd go in, you'd have these channels, and you could all watch YouTube channels together with a chat window, and it was buggy and didn't always work, but there was a community. Yeah. So think of it as like you're like a barfly, right? So you come in, you have the regulars, you're talking to them.
Norm!
Yeah, and there's so that was what I must have found it somehow through. There was Ponaburu, which was because I started seeing on the. I'm preemptively basically giving you the Brony Genesis now. I'd be like, how did you become a Brony? I'm just going to cut to the chase. I had started to see a lot of. I can't remember when it was. I think it was. When did they start? It was 2010, right? End of 2010?
Yeah, 10 is when they started.
So I think it had been going for a little while. It was a couple episodes into the next year. Mm-hmm. I think. I can't remember exactly when. But I had started to see all these like pop references and artwork and things like that just popping up in regular, internet stuff. Yeah. So it's like, I remembered My Little Pony from back when it was, the older generation stuff. We sort of grew up with it. My dad, who was also an editor, worked on a lot of Hasbro stuff. So, we were it was in our veins. He actually worked on the commercials for G.I. Joe, Transformers, My Little Pony, all the Hasbro stuff. So it was kind of in the blood. But I was like, holy crap, they're rebooting it? So I was curious, and, one thing led to another, which is dangerous on the internet.
Yeah.
No. One thing led to another, and so I found Ponabrew. I was like, wow, this style is very cool. And the thing was, too, I'm a sarcastic guy.
Yeah.
I enjoy sarcasm. I like memes to a point, unless they start overdoing it, like become mainstream or whatever. But I like funny things, smart, witty.
By hipster.
Yeah. And things that, don't quite match the, intended audience. Like, little ponies doing things they're not supposed to, and adult humor. Not adult humor. Don't get your dirty mind out of it. No. But I mean, just like, it's funny because, you've got this, sweet cartoon, and then people make them do, funny,
it's
older
humor that's
humor.
Not only for kids.
And, if we know anything about people on the internet, they can take sarcasm to the next level and make some really funny stuff. So
yes.
So I saw a lot of that, and I was like, wow, this is, these people are, it's pretty funny. So I followed Ponabrew, and I think I found a link to SyncTube, and what I found there was a lot of culture that was condensed in there. You've got music videos, PMVs that people have edited together.
Yeah.
So you've got when the music scene started breaking out, you've got what they call YouTube poops, which is again the sarcasm and stupid things that a lot of people don't like them, but some well done ones I kind of think are very funny. Especially when you're punchy and it's late at night. Yeah. But again, these are it's like taking these ponies and re-editing them to say things that they're not supposed to say, and
sure.
So I said, wow, these people have a sense of humor. This is fun.
One of the first things that I remember, actually, I have no idea why I watched it, but it was Sonic Rain Boom scene, and they had edited the audio to change to Guile's theme as soon as she hits the rain boom.
Mm-hmm.
So it was do 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 Sonic boom do 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 do.
Yeah. So and then on top of that, there was, so they'd cycle through that stuff. You'd get that, you'd get the music, you'd get episodes, people would be, talking about it, and that was sort of, again, it was like the Cheers of, the pony fandom.
Yep.
And so that sort of got me hooked because it was community, and I was amazed at as an editor, the creativity that was out there.
Yeah.
And then I actually, I saw an actual episode, and I think it was maybe, I'm not sure if it was the first one. I think I may have actually seen, the episode, was it called? It's called Winter Wrap Up.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
I'm trying to remember, it was another episode. This is how far. It's old news. But when the song came on, I was just blown away.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this cartoon had such an orchestrated and well done, catchy song put together.
Yeah.
You get little goosebumps. So.
Well, I think that's it right there. Is you got the word on it. They had a song in the middle of the episode. It wasn't a little ditty that they were singing, or it wasn't like some. It wasn't just a jingle that they had extended. It was a song. It was a
big, well done, high production value song, and it was, it worked really well. That was the thing, is the show was, production value for it was very good.
Yeah.
The animation was good. I mean, you've got people that were coming from, a lot of the big titans in the animation industry, but the showrunner at the time was, Powerpuff Girls and my favorite, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. And I really like the art direction and design and the animation style for that too. So, I was like, this is a good mix, and it's not trying to sell toys, and it's designed for kids and girls, but I was like, I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like a little guilty pleasure. And then you look around and see if anybody's like, watching you. What are you doing? Nothing. Don't come in.
I think it's somewhat like, I've kind of thought of it like, back in the day when I had a car and drove places, darn you Japan for having it. Okay. Love public transportation, but I miss driving and singing. But when you would be driving and a song comes on, you love the song and you just start singing it. And then you stop at a stoplight and glance over, and the person in the next car is singing the exact same song because it's on the radio. And you make eye contact for just a second, and both of you are like, screw it, yeah, sing along, man.
And you both are just like belting it out at the light, and everybody's kind of looking at you, but you don't care.
Right. For a second you're embarrassed that somebody else caught you, but then you're like, we both like the song. It's a good song. We're singing it. Yeah, get down with your bad self.
Yeah, those kind of moments of clarity are awesome when you're sharing a moment with somebody.
Yep.
I didn't mean to go off on a tangent but that was where
it's 85% tangents.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go over here for a while, dig ourselves out when we feel like
Honestly, if we had to confine ourselves to just cosine and sine, we would have almost no show.
Very funny.
Hey, I can do humor. Woohoo! Trigonometry humor.
Well, just to bring it back to the point of the question was, I decided to make the jump. I sort of pretty much hung out on typical social media. I got a Twitter. And there was regulars that you met. And one of them actually was Fulner again.
Right.
He was in Sing 2 for a while too. And I was impressed by his character, right? So I had found out, I was like, oh, he's local. And he said, hey, we're having a convention. I missed the first one that was in the city,
right.
the original BronyCon. And then they were having another one that was in, Secaucus, which was like I could throw a stone at it. And I said, I'm still curious about, how the convention is, and these bronies, like, I want to check it out and actually, venture outside the shell and go see what they're doing. And so I said, and I'm going to go meet John Fulner and shake his hand, because he's really impressed me. His, attitude and his, his outlook, and
right.
It's hard to find people like that,
Yeah.
So I said, I'm going to go and make a trip of it. So signed up, went down, explored the convention, and that was sort of um, a catalyst moment for me because everything just really congealed. It was everybody was having a great time. Everybody was like, feeling emotional, how unusual but very cool this was.
Right.
It was like, it became sort of the Mecca and made a lot of, life friends there. And that sort of kicked off. It was, when it wrapped, I was like, what's the next thing? When's the next one? Where are we going? And the rest is history. Now it's sort of turned into, breaks from work and vacation trips and seeing awesome friends.
Nice.
And so it's a great experience.
Now, I'm sorry that I don't know the answer to this, but have you been involved in any of the cons beyond just attendance? I mean, are you in the post-production of any of the con work?
Well, basically, I'm one of these people that sort of ventures into things and are at the right place at the right time.
Okay.
I've done live event stuff before, especially on the production side. I keep a cool head. And, just working with Fulner, who at the time was, he was the head of VIP
relations, right?
VIP relations, or Viper. He, sort of by sticking with him, things come up and, they find good people and you sort of make yourself useful because, you sort of do the circuit and you're like, okay, how can I help? Or, what's up?
Yeah.
And so things happen and you sort of help situations and people remember and just make yourself useful.
Yeah.
And then, so that's sort of been happening, it's like, I think I've said I'm like Vash the Stampede, where you just kind of like roll in, like save a situation, and then just kind of like disappear, and people are like, "Who was that?" You just happen to be in the right place or coming through the town, and they're like, "Help!" So and I'm happy to do it.
Masked man with the drone?
My nature is to help or and Draft, if he's listening to this, he's gonna laugh. Add value. That's our buzzword. It's like Pee Wee Herman. You're supposed to hear all the things go off. Everybody's like, magic word. So that eventually progressed into a sort of an official position at actually in split position at last BronyCon.
Okay.
Where they brought me on Viper as a driver with my car.
Right.
The police Dodge Charger. Fulner like loves this thing. It's like, oh, you gotta be my driver. You gotta do it. It's like, all right, man, let's do it. So I would transport people back and forth from the airport and just make it available because I used to make it available anyway, and just it's come in handy. This just sort of made it official.
And it's about as close as you can get to the Blues Brothers mobile anyway. So
yeah, right. I'm gonna have to have sunglasses, the half a pack of cigarettes, and some hats like in the trunk just in case.
Broken cigarette lighter. Gotta have a broken cigarette lighter.
Right. Figures. And so while I was doing that, basically, Everfree Network had also asked for some help in streaming at that convention. Oh. So we wanted to go big, and so I sort of consulted with them and planned some of the hardware and worked with them behind stage, and we had a system that let us do a lot of live switching and effects and streaming and all that stuff too, which was great.
Nice.
That I actually have at our studio at work. So we did some hot training by the seat of the pants, and it actually worked out well. And so we were able to use that, and I worked with them for BronyCon during the concerts and some of the panels and things like that. So I was splitting my time running back and forth. It was pretty funny. But those guys are they really are dedicated, and work their butt off there, and it's always a pleasure to work with them.
Nice. I'm
on
curious
top of being great friends too.
With videos, when was the last time somebody legitimately used a star wipe?
I can't remember, but there's actually.
I've got one in 80s week for every. I had star wipes for my entire show, but that was just being.
Well, you have to. I mean, that's
right. 80s week.
Exactly. It's a it goes with that sort of thing. It puts you in that mindset.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
There's actually a there's a funny Tumblr. It's called starwipemyass.tumblr.com, and it's a sarcastic Tumblr that basically makes fun of the editing and film industry, and just like the bitter editors and the things that they go through, and it makes fun of the fact that star wipes are really cheesy, and
yes,
there's some funny things on there. They have a Facebook and a Tumblr. So
oh yay! I admit I don't consider it a guilty pleasure because there's nothing that I've done, but the sites like Clients from Hell and this one I'll add to it, and the new one with the New York concierges telling their stories. They're hilarious. I love hearing stories about terrible customers because I've worked in customer service and I've had them.
Yeah, I like hearing like human stories about how things, interactions and stuff, especially, like in retail or in support or other stuff, because, you figure that you can't make this stuff up, like, that it's, you can't write better material, and it's real.
And almost everybody that I've spoken to who has been in retail, everybody has stories, but most people believe that their terrible customer stories are rare. It's like, no. Everybody has people like these.
Mm-hmm.
It just happens. I mean, I worked in the supermarket, and I had to physically restrain a man from opening every ice cream container and tasting it to see which one he liked.
Did he ever find one that he liked?
He was only going to buy the delicious ones.
Wow.
He was putting them back after opening them.
You can't make this stuff up. Did he ever find one that he liked?
No, because by that time our security arrived and they had contacted the police, and we said, okay, you've tried 4 of these now. You are either going to pay for these 4 and take them home, or you will be shoplifting. He got angry, but he did pay for the 4, and I don't think he came back to our store.
Well, all's well that ends well.
Yeah. And the other story that I tell I guess she thought it was normal, but it's very common for people in America. Japan, it just blows their minds when I tell them this, but it's very common for people to get some snacks or a candy bar or something and eat it in the store and just bring the, wrapper and, oh, I ate this while I was walking around.
Right.
Okay, fine. So while checking, this woman said, oh, I ate this. Can you just ring it up? I said, sure. And I look up. She has half a stick of butter in her hand. She literally opened a stick of butter and ate half of it while shopping.
That's like the joke where the people carry around and just start eating out of the tub of mayonnaise.
Yes, except this actually happened. I saw her just take a bite of butter.
Oh, like I said, you can't make stuff up.
No, so I appreciate that there is a star wipe my butt Tumblr.
Yeah. It does exist, and it's very much in parody form.
Yay, I've got something to read tonight. Woohoo! All right.
But yeah, respect our retail workers.
They
do their jobs tirelessly for little to no pay. I honestly
believe that anybody who is going to start working in retail, read these stories. If you're going to be hiring somebody, read the Clients from Hell thing so you know what other people have done and you don't be as terrible to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Though I'm sure we could start another one for just terrible, terrible video editing stories that you've done.
Yeah.
Not just you specifically, and that sounded bad. I'm sorry. I meant terrible experiences that you or others in the video world, post-production field have had.
Oh, I'm sure there's a Tumblr for that too.
Probably.
I mean,
I believe you could pretty much take any 3 random words, and that is a Tumblr somewhere.
Don't they have like Tumblr generators?
They might.
You can just. I mean, it's the internet, so why not, right?
Sure.
Where you're just like, I wanted to start a Tumblr, but I don't know what I should start one about. Mm-hmm. Well, you put it in, and it just gives you a Tumblr generator.
Pandas, swim, carrots. Okay, we got a Tumblr. Woohoo!
And it draws in millions of other Tumblr users.
Well, what do you have any comp plans for this coming season?
Well, yes. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. Well, the two. I can't think.
Because Japan Comic-Con is May 4th, and I'm just saying, you might not have to do any work, but it's going to be cool.
Well, we'll have to talk. I have to put it on my radar now. People have been trying to get me to come out to what's the one that's coming up soon? I haven't even looked at the list. There's so many that are happening.
Yeah. Well, I know this weekend. Next weekend is PonyCon AU, so the Australian con, and right now, as of recording this, is Galacon. Which one is in London right now? I can't remember. I've gone blank.
Yeah, it's that time, right?
Yeah.
It's actually like the weekend now when we're recording this, so
yep.
It's like the mind has already gone beyond to
mm-hmm.
sort of like turning the IQ off and just kind of going into autonomous mode.
Yep. Yeah, the Friday nights coming home on the train, you can almost hear hissing escaping my ears. Okay, guys, we're good for 48 hours. Shut her down. Then I get home and, what are we watching? Remodeling show. Great. How long is it? 3 hours. Super.
Yeah, I'm like that. I come home and I'm like, I want to do something like the most stupid and not have to think ever. So
and that's why Tumblr exists.
Yep. One of the ones that I'd like to try to make, it's going to be tight because it's right after there's a thing I try to go to every year in Las Vegas called NAB, for National Association of Broadcaster. It's kind of like CES or one of these cons, but except there's all like production and editing, and it's like the big mecca there. And then right after that is BAPSCon.
Oh.
I know a lot of good people that are going to be there. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to see if I can't. It's basically like a few days after this thing. So I might see if I can extend my time away and just sort of jump right into there.
Yeah, I mean, that's not that far.
I love California, so.
You could do that drive in a day, or you could fly. I don't know what you prefer, but I just miss driving so much, I would drive it in a heartbeat. I
drove all the way from New York to Canterlot Gardens,
nice.
Ohio. It was like a 10-hour trip, but it was great. Left like super early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
There was like little bits of fog on the road. It was like the scenery was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
That was a nice drive.
When I got the job that allowed me to come over to Japan, the closest office they had was in Chicago. I lived in St. Louis, and the interview was at 9 a.m. And I had to work the day before and the day after the interview. So I actually had to wake up at 2 a.m., or actually wake up at midnight, start driving at about 1 a.m., got there about 8, had my interview, and then drove back to St. Louis, got about 2 or 3 hours of sleep, woke up and went to work. So I understand.
Wow.
I understand what you're saying.
And it gets harder to do stuff. I mean, just like bouncing back as you get older. You know, you're just like, I'll just do this. I don't need much sleep. I'm just going to crank it. And, I'll bounce back. And
I used to work the night shift. That's how I got through college. I didn't take out any loans or anything. I paid for it myself by working the night shift. But if you ask me to do that now, no, don't think so.
The other one, the other convention that is starting to be up and coming, and there's more. Really, a lot of these conventions, I appreciate what they're doing, but it's a platform for getting together and
Sure.
Visiting friends again too. One of the ones I'm also going to see if I can't make it out to is MLP Minnesota.
Oh yes.
That's
MLP MSP.
It's all these names I can't because there's so many cons. But yeah, MLP
One thing
MSP.
I really appreciate. At first, I was kind of upset that Japan's PonyCon didn't have a more creative name, but at the same time, I'm like, well, it's easy to remember. You know where it is. You know what it's about. Okay, go with it. Japan PonyCon. Good enough.
Yes. So MLP MSP. It's the Pony Convention in Minnesota. Yeah, exactly. Let's see if I can't make it out there too. So, and there are others. I just have to see the schedule and see how they go. Because as a consultant, it's not paid vacation. So if I'm not working, I'm not, making money.
Yeah.
And but I try not to look at it that way.
Sure.
Because you drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
So I just I look at it as mental vacation time. And I love traveling. I've done more traveling last year than I've done in a long time. Yeah, exactly. So it's great. I'd like to start kind of branching out again and doing more international traveling.
Hey, let me know when you're coming to Osaka.
Japan has been one of the places I really wanted to visit.
Ooh, we'll talk.
We should.
Yeah. Well, a question that I ask in each of my interviews, in all of My Little Pony, what would you say is the one line or one scene that defines you as a brony?
I have to think about that.
Rather proud of that question.
Of course, it's not really hard to stump me right now in my weakened condition.
Granted, vice versa. Yeah, if you would ask me my middle name right now, I'd be, hold on a sec, my passport's right over here.
Well, let me turn this around because maybe it'll get the juices flowing. What is the line that defines you as a brony, would you say?
I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again, no problem. I actually have two. One is the best night ever. When Fluttershy gets so excited to see all the creatures in the garden and rushes out, and they all scatter in surprise. And Fluttershy says to herself, "Oh, Fluttershy, you're such a loudmouth." I love that she considers herself to be loud, and no creature would ever consider Fluttershy to be a loudmouth. But in her mind, she's a loudmouth and needs to work on that. And the other one is in Luna Eclipsed, where Luna has failed in trying to get everyone's attention without fear, and she storms off. And there's a quick 1 second shot of Luna sitting in front of the statue of Nightmare Moon, pawing at the ground, sadly. And that one kind of hit home for me. It's like, oh, yep, that's part of your past, and you're not going to be able to get past that, if you excuse the terrible pun. So you have to just excused. Thank you. You have to try to do the best you can to get people to know you as you are now. So those are my two.
Yeah.
Most people choose more lighthearted ones. I just had more time to think on it than a bunch of others.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way. You caught me off guard, but that's a really good question. So I'd have to think about that. But I would probably say, given my nature, I'm a fun-loving person. I tend to be sarcastic, in a mystery science theater sort of a way. Okay, that's me, and I think a lot of people would agree if, they get to know me. I'm always, I'm not on like that all the time, but that's what makes me laugh, and yeah, it's So, I mean, I sort of draw, I guess there's parallels to Pinkie Pie and a lot of the strange and wonderful things that she says that a lot of times do break the fourth wall. I'm sure somewhere in there's a line that I probably would identify with. But I'll have to find. I'll get back to you on the actual, because you got me thinking now, which is a good thing.
Yay, thought. Woohoo! I'm sorry. The machine should have been off for 48 hours. I apologize for the restarts.
Yeah, it's going to take my brain about 48 hours to reboot. You have to come back in 48 hours.
Sorry. Tech support. My system's frozen up. I'm just thinking about one question over and over, and I just wanted to sleep.
Yeah, like 3 a.m. I'm going to like sit up in bed and be like, that's the line. But this will be like 2 years later.
Yeah. I'll just get a postcard out of the blue. It just has the line on there, don't forget to write. What the? Huh? What's the? Oh, right. Yeah, okay. All right.
Yep. How many other people you've asked that question to have just been kind of like...
Every single one.
Good. Then I don't feel so bad. It's a good question though, but it's a good takeaway. Because people, sitting around, thinking about that, that's the, it's a good, I would say, now that I think about it more, it's something, I'd probably be something from Pinkie Pie, or the only person who really knows, like, what's really going on, like when all the nonsense is Spike.
Yes.
You think about it, he's always like, this voice of reason where people are off like doing, these convoluted plots that people like they're traveling off and trying to figure something out. And he's like, why are we doing this? Like, why don't we just the voice of reason, like, what the mouthpiece for what the audience is thinking. But nobody really like listens to him, so they'll go off and learn the hard way.
Right.
So a bit of sarcasm there.
No, I could see it, especially in Lesson 0 when he's the one who pops Twilight's thought bubble.
Yep.
Rolls up the window shade so she stops worrying about it, because she can't think about it if she can't see it.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll go with that. A Pinkie or Spike moment.
Yes. Very, very generic.
Nice. Okay. Well, everybody, today we've been speaking with Standby or Standby Please, if you wish to be polite. Thank you so much for coming by today.
No problem.
Everybody, be sure to check out his Twitter and Tumblr. Do you have a Tumblr?
I don't have a Tumblr. You can find me on Twitter, though.
Okay. So Twitter. And are you going to be uploading a huge amount of awesome drone videos?
Yeah. Stay tuned, because there's a show reel coming.
Okay. Cool.
A lot of footage that I was able to shoot last year, and I'm always shooting more. So keep your eyes peeled. I'll let people know when I post.
Nice. Okay.
And again, thanks for having me on your show.
Yes, no problem at all. Everyone, this has been Osaka Jack with Into the Spotlight on Everfree Network. We'll catch you next time.